Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Noise is one of the most common indoor problems today. It is not only an indoor problem but also a problem of the outdoor environment. We are going to discuss what is noise, what is the nature of noise, and how it affects the human beings and the environment. And we are also going to discuss how the noise can be controlled and what are the laws and standards that control the noise pollution. So any unwanted or unpleasant sound that is termed as noise. But scientifically speaking, noise is any sound that is harmful to the human beings or the environment or the property. It could also harm the animals and affect any place where noise is produced. So we will to understand noise, we have to first understand what is sound, because sound is produced from various equipments, it is produced from the people also, it is produced from the machineries also. So we have to find we have to first understand what is the nature of the sound, and then we are going to discuss the effects of the noise. So sound is actually mechanical wave which needs a medium to pass. So sound needs a medium to pass, such as the air. There are other mediums also, like the water or the solid mediums, and Allah has given us the sound as a source of communication. Okay, so we human beings or the animals, they use the sound for communication, and sound has different types of characteristics, and on based of those characteristics we differentiate between one sound to another sound. For example, the sound has intensity, it has frequency, and it has speed. So the intensity means how loud a sound is. Sound can be loud or soft. It ranges usually between 0 to 150 or 160 decibel, but the most loudest sound could even reach 180 decibel, but usually it remains between 0 to 150. And there are different sources that give different noise levels. For example, in this diagram, it's shown different machineries are shown to produce different levels of noise. You can see that a quiet whisper could be 30 up to 30 decibel, whereas the rustling of leaves is 10 decibel. A quiet office could be at between 40 to 50 decibels, and normal conversation, the normal speech volume is usually up to 60 decibel that we at which we converse. Now this scale is a logarithmic scale. So log scale means these the values that are changing from 10, 20, 30, 40, these are actually log values. These are the power of tens. So there is a huge difference between a sound which is produced at 60 decibel to a sound which is produced at 80 decibel. So there are different characteristics, other characteristics, like there is the frequency or the pitch. The frequency means the number of cycles. Okay, so actually when we say that sound is a mechanical wave means it has a frequency. Okay, number of cycles per second. So the audible range of the human beings is is between 20 to 20,000 hertz or cycles per second. So if you can see on the scale, if you can see in the diagram, the sound waves you can count the sound waves per second. If you have more number of waves per second, then the pitch is higher, the frequency is higher. And if the sound is of low pitch, you will have less number of waves. For example, in the case of number 4, the pitch is higher. In number 4, you have a lot of waves per second. Cycles per second is higher as compared to the number 3 or the number 2. So there we have less number of cycles per second. So the pitch can be high or low, and the difference in the high pitch or low pitch sound, or high frequency or low frequency sound, is that high pitch sounds are sharp and have a shrill value. For example, a child, when he screams, the sound which comes out from his throat is a high pitch sound, as compared to the sound of an elderly man. His sound would be a low pitch sound. So a drum beat is usually a low pitch sound, okay, whereas comparing it to a flute is a high pitch sound. A flute is a high pitch sound and a drum beat is a low pitch sound. So there are various health effects of noise when sound is higher than the level which is allowed, or which is which becomes harmful to the human health. The sound is always actually it affects the human health. And we can see that the effects are divided into two types: the auditory effect and the non-auditory effect. The auditory effect is related to the hearing. That is why the word auditory is used here. It is related to the hearing. And auditory effects includes the hearing loss, that is the deafness. It is measured in percentage. And there are other effects like the tinnitus. Tinnitus means false ringing or false whistling sound in the ear. Sometimes it happens that you observe some whistling sound, which is only a malfunction of your ear, but it is not actually a real sound. It is only a malfunction of your ear. Acoustic trauma is also another effect of the noise, and this is observed when a sudden, short, loud burst of noise is experienced, and such as a blast or something like that. And the person exposed may have damaged their tympanic membrane, which is the eardrum. So if the eardrum is perforated, that type of effect is called as acoustic trauma, if the eardrum is perforated because of noise. There are other effects which are non-auditory effects, which are the other physiological effects, such as the elevated blood pressure level, the elevated heart rate. As you know that loud noise, it affects the human body, and the blood pressure and the heartbeat, it increases as a result of exposure to the loud noise. This is because of some hormonal changes in the human body which are produced in case of exposure to any emergency condition, and loud noise is one of those conditions which triggers these emergency hormones called the adrenaline, and these hormones, they increases the heartbeat and the blood pressure level. Then there are other effects. Loud noise can also trigger the headache and other type of problems, and such as the anxiety and depression. The person feels annoyed, and very irritation effects are also annoyance and irritation effects are also experienced in persons who are exposed to loud noise. Then there are other problems such as the sleeplessness. Sleeplessness is a problem which is experienced at places where there is a lot of traffic noise, or there are other types of problems, or people living near places like a railway station or an airport. They will experience or a busy road, they will experience loud noise exposure, and if the exposure is during the sleeping time, then the people will have more difficulty in sleeping. They will have a difficulty in sleeping, which is again a cause of various physiological and psychological disturbances. There is speech interference where when we talk, if there is a loud noise, if there is a noisy area, and you want to talk to someone, you will not be able to converse, and this type of interference is called the speech interference. There is also problem of lack of concentration. You may have seen noise you may have seen a ban on noise near the schools or masjid or any places like that. That is the reason of that type of ban on horns or from the automobiles is that the people inside a school or a masjid or a hospital, they are taking the people in masjid or school, they need concentration for their prayers or for their studies, and loud noise can affect their concentration. So that is why there is a ban on horns from automobiles, and noisy automobiles are prohibited around such places. Around the hospitals also we have the ban on noise, and the reason is obvious, that people are resting inside the hospital. There are patients which needs rest, and the loud noise will affect their health badly. There is a standard of noise, as you can see on the screen, that the Sindh government has produced a gazette in 2016, and this gazette actually is a law. It is a law. It is a regulation. It is a standard or guideline for environmental noise in different places. If you can see the screen, I'll show you a bit more clearly. If you can see this screen, the Sindh government has designated different types of areas, and based on those types of areas, the noise can be the noise level is allowed at different levels in different areas. For example, the residential area, in daytime it is 65 decibel, and at night time it is 50 decibel. So there are different types of area designated by the Sindh government, and in those areas the limit of noise is different from different it is different at different times. So the new standard, according to the new standard, it is 55 decibel in the daytime and 45 decibel at the night time in the residential area. In the commercial area, previously it was 70 decibel at the daytime and 60 decibel at the night time, whereas it has been changed to 65 decibel at the daytime and 55 decibel at the night time. In the industrial area, it is 80 decibel and 75 decibel in day and night times. It was previously 80 and 75 decibel. Now it has been changed to 75 and 65 decibel in the industrial area. Okay. And the silence zone, these are the zones such as the hospitals or the schools or the masjid. And these silence zones, they have 55 and 45 decibel at the daytime and nighttime previously, and now it has been reduced to 50 and 45 decibel in the daytime and nighttime respectively. So these are different zones as described by the government of Sindh, and in these zones it is illegal to produce the noise greater than these values at any place. So these zones are termed as A, B, C, D, and you can see the daytime and nighttime definition in the previous slide. It is mentioned that the daytime hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and the nighttime hours are 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and the silent zones are the ones which are described by the authority. It's around 100 meters of any hospital, educational institution, and courts and other places like masjid, etc. And now we will have a look at the sources of noise. Now, okay, let me also tell you, please, these are the noise standards for the environmental quality. That is, in those zones, the noise should not exceed at this level. There is also one more standard which is for the occupational noise, and occupational noise exposure means the noise exposure at the workplace. If you work in any office, if you work in any industry, or maybe if you are working somewhere at a busy road, the occupational noise exposure limit is 85 decibel for 8 hours. As you know that normal standard work pattern is for 8 hours, so the noise that you can be exposed within those 8 hours should not exceed more than 85 decibels. Now this is the duty of your employer to maintain the noise level less than 85 decibel during your work hours or your working shift, and this noise exposure should not exceed. It is the duty of the employer to maintain that noise level. If the employer fails to maintain that noise level, it is offensive and it is a punishable act. So there are various noise sources. Usually these noise sources are the machineries that are being operated at different places. For example, the automobiles, the aircrafts, and the various types of other types of vehicles. Then there are loudspeakers which are operated at different places, like for example inside your house or in the neighborhood or maybe some other places. The loudspeakers may be operated. Then there are musical instruments, and there could be other equipment such as the chainsaw and etc. So these equipment, they all produce they are all source of loud noise, and if you are exposed to those loud noise, you have a right to complain against these sources, and the government of Sindh is bound to maintain the noise level within the standards as described above. So there could be different control measures for noise, and we can use different types of control measures for reducing the noise level in the indoor and in the outdoor environment. So the most preferred control of noise is control at source. You may have heard that you may have seen that different equipment can reduce their noise if they are maintained properly. We will discuss this shortly. There are other types of noise control, such as the noise absorbance. You can use different materials at your home or in the office or in the industry for absorbing the noise and reducing the exposure to noise. Then there is the last choice, which is the personal protection equipment. The personal protective equipment can also be used to reduce a person's exposure if it is not within the standard exposure as described above. So first of all, let me tell you about the reduce of noise at source, the control of noise at source. You know that most machineries, they will produce less noise if they are maintained properly. So maintenance of the machineries or equipment at your home or in the office or in the industry, that is a very important point. And then there is the engineering control. This is or you can change the technology or change the type of technology that of the equipment that you are using. And you know that most modern equipment, they produce less amount of noise as compared to the older equipment. So you can make use of the latest technology and reduce the noise around your surrounding, in your surrounding or in your environment. We can also use some packing machine, packing or containments of the equipment, such as you can see in the in the figure, in the photograph. You can see two types of generators. One is the older one, which used to produce a lot of noise, and now we have the packed generators. They are packed by materials such as the foam or the styrofoam or some other type of material, which are packed inside, packed on the generator. And these type of generators, they produce very less amount of noise. So we can use different measures to control the noise at source. So these can be applied at your home, in your office, or maybe in your industry. Then there is noise absorbance. There are various materials which can absorb the noise. You can use different types of floorings, such as the carpet or other type of flooring like the vinyl flooring, etc. We can also use the curtains. If you even at the most noisy places, if you shut the window and you put the curtains on the windows, then you will be able to reduce significant amount of noise. And some material such as the carpets or etc., they are dust catchers. They can cause other type of environmental problems, such as the ones which we discussed earlier in the sick building syndrome. These types of material can be replaced with more advanced materials, such as the vinyl flooring, etc. These type of material, they can cover the floors and the walls, and they can reduce significant amount of noise. And they are also easy to clean, and they do not catch any dust or any other type of harmful materials, which could affect your health. So noise absorbance is a very significant and measure, a very important measure for controlling the noise if you live or work in a noisy place. There are other type of equipment, such as the personal protection equipment, and these types of equipment, these are actually the last choice, because people usually do not prefer wearing such equipment. It is not easy, or it does not make you feel so easy. So people living or working at a noisy place usually find it hard to use these types of equipment. But in case if you do not have any other choice, then you have to go for these type of things. So earplugs, earmuffs, and different types of other type of noise protection equipment are available in the markets, and you can use these types of equipment. Nowadays you can also use the soft earbudded hand frees that are used for the mobile phones. They can also reduce significant amount of noise. So this was about the noise, nature of noise. What is noise? What is the nature of noise? It is a sound, and it travels through a medium. And we also discussed the characteristics of the sound. And all just like other waves, it has intensity, frequency, and speed. and the intensity is measured in decibel scale is a log scale, and it is measured in the power of tens. So the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 decibel means these are the power of tens. So different equipment produce different level of noise, and we can control the sources of those noise. Then there is a difference in the frequency. There is sharp or shrill sounds, and there are the other type of sounds like which are high pitch sound, which are low pitch sound, for example the beat of a drum, etc. We also discussed about the health effects, what are the various type of effects of noise, and it is very important to control the noise if you want to improve the health of people which are living or working at a particular place. We also discussed the standards of noise, and in different types of zones there are different types of there are different levels of noise that are allowed, and any level of noise which exceed these levels, it is a criminal offense, and it's a punishable offense. So you have the right to live in a quiet place, and you have the right to live a healthy life. So you can complain against any high level of noise, and you can complain to the Sindh government. There is a Sindh Environment Protection Agency which is responsible for maintaining the environmental conditions according to the laws. So any person, they have the right to go to the Sindh Environment Protection Agency, and you can find their address and phone number and emails and through their website. So the Sindh Environment Protection Agency is responsible for maintaining the noise levels in different types of zones, such as the A, B, C, D. These zones are described in the Sindh Gazette, the Sindh Environmental Quality Standards, and this type, the occupational noise exposure level is limit is 85 decibel for 8 hours. So there are different noise exposure limit for the occupational and the residential areas. Then there are various sources. We also talked about the control measures of the various sources, the control at source, the noise absorbance, and the personal protection equipment. So this was about it.